Welcome to Money Matters, the weekly currency roundup podcast brought to you by IsraTransfer. Whether you're a seasoned investor, an expat managing your finances, or just curious about the world of currency exchange, you're in the right place. Each week, IsraTransfer's co-founder and head of trading, Daniel Engelsman, will inform us of the latest trends, insights, and market movements that could impact your money. From currency fluctuations to economic news, we're here to equip you with everything you need to navigate the ever-changing landscape of foreign exchange. So let's dive into this week's roundup. Daniel, what's the latest update on the exchange rate?
Welcome back to another week. And this week's gone quickly. It's been a tough week here in Israel for some obvious reasons, and we won't go into politics here. Maybe we'll just talk about how politics affects the exchange rate. Normally, there's a few things that do affect exchange rates. Normally, it's political fears, political actions that can affect exchange rates. We also have economic factors that affect exchange rates as well. And whilst we seem to be in a holding pattern with the exchange rates at the moment, and what I mean by that is that it's kind of in a range. The US dollar is currently ranging between about 3.6 and 3.55 this week, and for the couple of weeks before this as well. Same with Canadian dollar, which has been around 2.55 and 2.45 for the last few weeks as well. So it's kind of in a holding pattern. And why is it in that holding pattern? A lot has to do with coming towards the end of the first part of the ceasefire and what's going to happen next. What happens next is going to be crucial for the exchange rates, because if we do move on to phase 2 and it's nice and calm, then that will be very positive for the Israeli economy, and we might see the shekel strengthen against all the major currencies. However, if we slip back into another phase of war, we should see the shekel weaken a fair bit. And not only does that have a knock-on effect, as said, to the exchange rates, but also interest rates. And interest rate decisions make a big impact on the exchange rate. So at the end of this week, we had the Bank of Israel keep interest rates on hold, as they have done for the last while. And there were comments by the governor of the Bank of Israel saying that he expects interest rates to fall in the second half of 2025. Now, if interest rates fall, the shekel would, in theory, weaken. Therefore, your dollars, pounds, Canadian dollars, you get a better exchange rates against the shekel. But he's saying those comments that interest rates will fall based on the fact that we keep the status quo with what's happening in Gaza at the moment. And in my personal opinion, I don't think it's going to be the same as it is now. It will either be we've moved on to phase 2 or we've gone back to war. So, interest rates might fall, and if they do fall, it'll be good for anyone that wants to convert funds, but it's a bit too early, I think, to be guaranteed those interest rate cuts.
And what should we be looking at for next week?
So we'll have to wait and see what happens over the next week with the negotiations for the second phase of the ceasefire, and I think that will have a big impact on the movement of the exchange rates over the next few weeks. We do in the background obviously have what's going on with President Trump, and they're trying to make peace in Ukraine and Russia, which globally will help calm markets eventually, but I think it's not really going to have a huge impact on the shekel exchange rate over the course of the next week.
And any recommendations for those looking to make Aliyah in the coming months?
I always like to end with a little tidbit of information. This week, I've been recording some things for a vlog that I'm doing related to Aliyah, and I just want to repeat one of the key parts and information from that. So you're making Aliyah, and you're thinking about removals, where you're going to live. Don't forget about exchange rates. Exchange rates have a big impact on your cost of living, your power. Exchange rates have a big impact on how well you can live in Israel. Just because the exchange rate is a certain rate now, it doesn't mean that in 3 years' time, 2 years' time, 10 years' time, it's going to be the same. So if you're living off of a fixed income from the United States, as an example, to live on in Israel, it's going to fluctuate how much shekel you're going to get for those dollars. So just bear that in mind. Have a good weekend, everyone, and Shabbat Shalom.
And that wraps up this week's Currency Weekly Roundup. We hope you found this episode informative and engaging. If If you enjoyed today's discussion, be sure to subscribe and let us know if you have any questions you'd like Daniel to answer. For more information on currency exchange and to stay updated with the latest trends, visit us at IsraTransfer.com. Join us next week for more insights and analysis. Until then, stay informed and take care. Disclaimer: this podcast provides general information about currency exchange and buying or selling currency. It does not constitute legal, financial, or investment advice. Listeners should make independent decisions and seek professional guidance. The company is not liable for any actions taken based on this content.